Hello and welcome back to the Get Sculpted podcast. I'm so excited about this one. I know I say that all the time, but today is a very special one because it is the three of us sitting down with Francesca, our in-house kinesiologist and our Get Sculpted movement specialist. Cue the confetti. And I'm going to let Francesca say more, but the reason I wanted to say that I'm personally so excited is because Francesca, I attribute the trainer I am and have evolved to a lot to what she's taught me as a mentor, honestly.
Aw.
She was the head trainer at the gym I first worked at. And through her, I learned so much about training people, movement assessments, like how the body moves. She took me through my first two competition preps and really helped me build that foundation. So I always say this, but selfishly, I like having these conversations because I get a lot out of it. But I also know everyone's going to get a lot out of it. So I'm really happy about it. And the great thing about Francesca is she's not just the kind of trainer or coach that just is going to throw random exercises your way. So she's going to look at how you move, why you're doing the movement, and she's also not afraid to challenge the conventional thinking in a lot of aspects. So I'm excited about it. And Francesca, welcome, and
Welcome.
tell us about you a little bit.
Thank you so much for having me, you guys. Like, this is so nice to,
Yeah.
be on this end of Get Sculpted because usually I'm just kind of behind the scenes in a way. Well, thank you for that lovely intro. As you said, I've been in the industry. I think I'm going like 22, 23 years. I started off as a personal trainer and went to a registered kinesiologist with the college in Ontario. And then when I just around COVID time, I started FitFX training. And I started that because through my own history with injuries and weight loss and movement, I found that a lot of the plans or approaches were quite cookie cutter. So when you think about like when you go to the doctor to get a prescription, exercise should be the same way. It should
Right.
be tailored exactly to you and your lifestyle. And then that's where FitFX training was developed and born. So I'm doing a lot of clients online. I see some clients in person. I've got like my home studio here. It's been a blast. And then also getting to work with the clients of Get Sculpted because just witnessing all of the ladies in their weightlifting journey where they're overcoming injury and getting stronger. It's just been a pleasure to witness. It's awesome.
Aw.
Well, they get tons of value out of it, and they'll be the first to say
Yeah.
that. And I
Yeah.
just want to highlight for our listeners as well that you live in Norway. I don't know if we mentioned that we met in Canada. You now live in Norway, and we see clients worldwide. So this is all virtual. And like you said, you work with clients virtually as well for a lot of your practice.
Yes, I've been in Norway for 4.5 years now. It's kind of
Wow.
wild. So started doing online stuff around COVID, just like every other trainer or
hmm
practitioner. But yeah, I think how technology has evolved, it's been really great to be able to still have
hmm
like such personal connections and contacts and updates that you can have with my clients and your
Right.
clients. It's been awesome.
I love that. And Francesca, you've been in the industry so long. Besides the technology piece changing, like what have you also noticed evolving over time?
There's a lot that has evolved in the fitness industry. I think just the delivery of services. So I know we already kind of touched on technology, but I think that's been the biggest contribution in the fitness industry, in the fitness space, where it's more accessible now. We
hmm
even see, even if you didn't know where to start or what to do, a lot of people will go to Google and go to YouTube. But even with that, it's still not, again, the prescription or the approach that most people should be following. But
Right.
now with, apps and we can deliver programming right to the client's phone. We're all on our phones already anyways.
hmm
hmm
I think that has been like one of the biggest game changers to the fitness space. Wearable technology, you can integrate
Right.
it into your phone and your apps and softwares and see all of your data in one place.
hmm
That's, I think, been the biggest contribution to fitness so far. And we're going to only see it evolve even
hmm
further with the development of artificial intelligence and ChatGPT and whatnot.
hmm
So true. And what makes a lot of coaches really special is that they have their own story of why
hmm
fitness and health and coaching is so important to them. And you've gone through your own transformation in a number of different iterations in your health and fitness journey.
hmm
Can you share with us, a few of those
Yeah.
peak
hmm
elements?
I've done everything. I've literally been through everything. So I think maybe go back to when I was a teenager. I was like working fast food at McDonald's and I played sports, but I wasn't training. You know how there's can
Yeah.
be like a little bit
Yep.
of a difference, right? So my weight was creeping up. I was approaching 200 pounds. And one day I was just kind of like fed up and ready
Yeah.
to take charge. I had like the straw that broke the camel's back moment in a
Right.
change room when the clothes didn't fit. So that was like my aha moment to kind of get the ball rolling. And I was already 1 year into my kinesiology degree at that time at York University. So it was from that moment that I started, well, have all of this information and resources available to me. Let me implement them. So I started using scientific and evidence-based approaches to my own weight loss, being consistent with my steps, resistance training. I really started to get into resistance training in my second and third year university. And then it was when I was at university still, there was this guy that I was dating, and he really introduced me into like the big boy weights, we'll kind of call it. Because I was in the women's gym space. He happened to be at the same gym as me. Premier Fitness, for those that remember, and I hung out in the women's only section. But he's like, oh, I go to that gym too. I actually work there. Train with me over here. But then that kind of meant crossing into uncharted waters and the dark side.
New territory.
All new territory. All the big bulky guys are making noises as they're lifting and stuff. Pretty intimidating. But he kind of took me under his wing, and then I got into like barbell squats and hip thrusts and loved it. And my weight loss was surely coming down. I went from like 192 to about 145.
Wow.
I don't remember the length it took, but it was steady. And then I guess we'll call that chapter 1. Chapter 2 was me venturing into the bodybuilding space. He talked me into doing my first competition, and it was a blast, but I kind of went about it the wrong way. It was like 0 carbs, the workout. The approach back then, again, as you're new to the industry, it's not always the most efficient, but it definitely got the job done, but I was struggling. I was cranky, low energy because I wasn't eating any carbs.
Been
But I
there.
was shredded. And I actually won first place.
Wow.
For my first competition. I was pretty stoked. That was awesome. But then immediately after that, I was like, let me just, I'm just going to eat everything and pretend that didn't happen. Of course, because I wasn't eating any carbs, gained it all back.
Right.
Not everything, but I definitely gained enough weight back. But then it kind of spurred me to want to do another competition again.
Yeah.
So
like a
I've
cycle.
done, did the second competition, then the third, fourth, fifth. I had a coach at one point. Shout out Team T-Rex. And then I worked my way all the way to national level.
Wow.
I didn't place, and that was fine for me. I thought it was just enough of an achievement that I could compete at a figure category, national level. That was all great. And I just didn't have the desire to go forward because with all of the volume through the bodybuilding, it started to creep up on me. My back was always achy. I had torn some muscles, my neck, my shoulder, all of these injuries started creeping up even more so. And even the ones that I had and kind of dismissed back in my varsity athlete days. So the extra volume and the extra bodybuilding and the extra training and the no recovery whatsoever, definitely I started to pay the price for it.
Yes.
It was chapter 3. After that, I had started working downtown with Tiana, and I started really kind of getting into just being more interested in how the body moves. And, just there are corrective exercises and things that I can do to kind of make me move better and get stronger and rehab it. Because I had seen at that point, I don't know, however many physios, chiros, and nothing was really sticking. It was kind of helping, but not really sticking. And the idea of FitFX training was in the back of my mind at that time, but it just kind of was brewing still. And then again, further along in my career, I had met a kinesiologist, and he said, you should write the board exam. So I did. And it gave me it just kind of opened a new perspective of the new clients and patients that I was working with. A lot of them had recent knee surgeries, or they had severe back pain or shoulder this and da 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 da. And there exists a whole bunch of protocols where a kinesiologist or a physio can use this to treat their patient, and you do it in a graduated fashion. But But I realized that there was kind of a gap in the rehabilitative and fitness space, that
Right.
they can be one and the same. We can
Yeah.
use resistance training as rehab and you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I really believe that movement can be medicine, where we can use the best of both worlds to fix back pain or
Mm-hmm.
address feet issues and shoulders and run faster and bend better and deadlifts and so forth. So I truly, I'm so thankful for the journey that I had, because it
Right.
really made me appreciate that. I think like really good movement comes
Mm-hmm.
from having both worlds integrated together
Right.
into your training program.
I love that so much, Francesca, because well, first of all, we love you and we love this approach you take. That's why we are just one of the many reasons we're so grateful that we have you as part of our team. But I can just speak from personal experience. My story was similar to yours with, bodybuilding and all that. And I was injured. And it's so interesting because I had medical professionals say to me, no more resistance training. In fact, I had someone say to me, you should never squat again in your life. And as someone at that point who didn't have the experience I do now, I mean, you go to these professionals and you trust them. And I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to squat again. And, I just love the messaging, because that's what a lot of women come to us thinking, that it's one or the other. Like, if I'm injured, I can't do this. So do you feel like your journey has changed the way you view pain and movement? Like, your chapters are incredible.
Absolutely. Because case in point with whoever told you to never squat again, like you sit on a toilet and stand up, you sit in the car and stand
Yeah,
up, you sit
Exactly.
at the desk and stand up. So it's kind of bodacious to be like,
Yes.
never
Don't
squat
squat.
again.
You
My
have to get up.
philosophy,
Yeah.
yeah, right? So the whole philosophy is that, like, why not teach the person to be able to
Yes.
move again and then some, that they
Hmm.
can overcome
I love that.
whatever injury or situation that they're dealing with. Now, this is obviously case dependent,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
You wouldn't paint everybody with the same brush, but then again, that's where the tailored approach comes in. That's
Yeah.
where a detailed health history comes in. That way we know exactly what exercises and
Right.
where to start you and how to progress you.
I love that so much. Yeah. Because our bodies were made to move. Right. So to have somebody, it's very deflating and very discouraging and depressing sometimes when people come to us and say, like, I was told never to do this again. So you're basically giving them that quality of life back.
That's why I think this is so valuable, this whole conversation. I'm so excited about it because, Francesca, one of the things I love that you said and that you practice with is that it is integrated. I think a lot of people lean on, like, especially with injury, I think they almost identify with that. They're like, I'm the person
Yeah.
with the bad back and the bad knees. And then they go to these physios and other professionals who they get very comfortable working in that capacity. And they're like, if I just stick to the physio exercises, but nothing beyond that. And I think you do a
Right.
great job of like bridging the gap of like, but it's not this or that, it's this and that, right? Like it's
Yeah.
also like that only like, the physio and that kind of thing, the physical therapy or whatever, it'll take you from maybe a place of like, I can't move and I'm out of pain. But then what happens to keep yourself out of pain? So I want to
Right.
come back to what you said too, which is kind of the really important phrase here that we're touching on, which is movement is medicine. And I know you kind of live by that. So like, I guess let's unpack a little bit more of like what that means.
Okay, so it kind of means just as it sounds, where we go to the doctor for all sorts of prescriptions, right? Maybe type 2 diabetes or blood sugar or cholesterol, or, we go to a chiro for our back. Movement can treat all of these things as long as the approach is strategic and
Right.
as long as it suits you and what your needs are.
Right.
Again, the same way when you go to the doctor or physio or chiro, they have to assess you first. They have to figure out, okay, well, what's the problem? Your blood sugars are too high, or okay, you had a disc herniation. But again, movement can be medicine and do the exact same thing. Whereas with blood sugars, we know that, if you are resistance training, just the simple contraction of your muscles makes them more sensitive to absorb and use extra glucose in the bloodstream. So that is a one way in which type 2 diabetics, they can control their blood sugar, right?
Right.
Yes.
Movement is treating the ailment here. And then same thing with back pain. A lot of, instead of, maybe getting an adjustment, again, I'm speaking kind of generally, I'm not a chiro, but going for a walk, just a simple act of the joints moving, lubricating
Right.
themselves, again, can make or reduce back pain or make it less stiff. And cat
Mm-hmm.
camel and there's other exercises out there. Movement can be really the vehicle to,
Right.
treat so many ailments. And it's kind of a shame that we're still kind of advocating for this. I know doctors and
Mhm.
there are people in this space that'll say, yeah, you need to move more, but then
Mm-hmm.
that's it. That's all that they kind of get.
Right.
And there needs to be more advocacy towards, okay, for example, kinesiologists, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Where we are the champions, so to speak, of exercise prescription and movement. So there needs to be, again, just an increased presence of other registered kinesiologists or other people who at least have the same mindset to
Right.
help people who know that they need to move more, but exactly what that person should be doing.
Right.
I wish it was
Yeah.
more collaborative, don't you? Like the whole
Yeah.
system, it's so disjointed and it leaves the individual searching for that
Mm-hmm.
support, kind of like trying to wandering around in the dark, being like, do I do this? Do I do this? Well, they told
Yeah.
me the hierarchy of like listening just to the doctor and all
Yeah.
respect to the doctor, love the doctors, thank you for everything you do. But if they're the ones saying like, oh, just move more, that's kind of keeping it too generic as opposed to like if there was partners in the medicine. It's like, hey, I want you to go see this kinesiologist or this coach or not, maybe not even specifically, but like you need to be doing strength training. This is what it looks like. Find this type of person to help you.
Right.
I wish we were kind of moving towards that like lane. You know what I mean? It was more collaborative.
Yeah. And I think people have definitely tried.
Yeah.
There does exist some multidisciplinary spaces,
Mm-hmm.
maybe some private clinics, but they might be hard to find where you can have, all of the practitioners and treatments available in the same
Right.
roof.
Yep.
But yeah, I think unfortunately collaboration is not limited, but we could definitely do
We do
better
better.
to service the
Agreed.
client or the patient. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that this is an important discussion too about like medicine and these kind of certain professions can help treat like the symptom, but like what about if we peel back and just helping people move better? And I know in some aspects, like with some things we've talked about, Francesca, they almost overstep or go the wrong direction in certain ways. Like for example, we've talked about like orthotics in particular. Like can we maybe touch on that and how like certain things are just kind of like a band-aid to a deeper problem?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's um,
Here we go.
there's a lot to unpack there too. Again, speaking just from my own personal and clinical experiences, in the cases of orthotics, I think they can be overprescribed
Right.
because so what are they for, right? Usually they're given for a person who may overpronate. And then just for those, just to simplify it, your arch might collapse a little too early or too much as you're walking. And then this can cause some pain either in the foot itself, knee, back, what have you, or in the hip. A podiatrist might give you an orthotic just to minimize how much pronation you're actually doing. But as to your point, Tiana, I do feel a lot of the time this is simply just a band-aid approach because, again, I'm a person that really believes in trying to just help the person move better as a whole, as
Right.
opposed to kind of giving you a crutch in order to
Mhm.
do that. Because what if the movement can be improved upon or strengthened in the entire chain? So we
Yes.
teach the person how to fully pronate and how to just move better as a whole. Because let's just be frank, orthotics are quite expensive. They're probably like, I don't know, hundreds of dollars a pair, and insurance only covers so much per year. And to have that expense for the rest of your life when really we can just, teach you how to move better,
Yes.
to me seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And
So
it's empowerment as well. I think like what I'm
Yes.
hearing is like instead of just the supporting your arch, not only costs money, but it's also you're not using your body to its full
That's
capacity
right.
or the way it's designed. So, I mean, what you're saying, I guess, is like we want to strengthen the feet and strengthen up the kinetic chain, and that's going to help you move better as a whole.
Right.
100%, yeah. And if we could even be more specific, right? Let's say this person who has orthotics is a runner. right? And to run efficiently and to prevent a lot of overuse injury, we need to have great mechanics. You need to be
Right.
able to load the foot and then push off the foot, right?
Mhm.
So that requires strength and pronation. So you're kind of being forced to, like, you're not really doing the pronation yourself. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You have
Yes.
something that's kind of limiting the natural movement of the foot. So and then in order to do that, we need the hip to work in extension, the femur to go
Right.
internal rotation. So these are all of these things that can just be strengthened simply
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
and
a good point.
quite easily. Yeah. So I think it would make you an even better runner if you can do it yourself rather than having the orthotic in there to, kind
Right.
of be that crutch,
I love that. I love that. And you know what? This is one of the things that we really, well, again, we love everything about you, but what I really respect about you is that you don't just like repeat the standard advice. It's not just like status quo. You actually look at people's bodies, how they move, what they're capable of, and I think our clients are excelling because of that, and they're learning their bodies in a way. This is what I've said to a few of them. You're learning your body in a way that you never would have. So sometimes when they get injured or something happens, it is very defeating, but it is empowering, like you said, T, because then they get to know how their body moves, and this just takes them so much further, especially in terms of confidence. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say we teach them how to fish. We don't just give them a fish. So I think that that's what I want to highlight for people, because in a lot of coaching programs that people have been in before, what they'll say is like, I did it but didn't get the results, or I keep getting injured.
Yeah.
But we want people to know it's really about how you move, not just the fact that you have a good plan on paper.
Yeah, I love that. So I would love to know, because again, you do not just repeat the standard advice. What is an opinion that you have that maybe gets pushed back? Like, have you found that there's anything that you advocate for or believe in that kind of comes back and gives you a little bit of resistance? Or that goes against the grain? I mean, the orthotics piece is an interesting one. Again, as someone who is prescribed years worth of orthotics for her herniated discs and not allowed to do any squats, I don't use them anymore. I squat, like I'm totally squatting and deadlifting.
I've seen you squatting. You can lift heavy.
I know. I attribute that to exactly what you're talking about. So is there anything else that you feel you get pushback on, or that goes against the grain of what people say or believe?
Let's open the can of worms.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I think my approach is definitely unconventional,
Mhm.
where again, I do both strength training and I do also rehabilitation. And I am trying to pursue physiotherapy. So I do try to think with
Cool.
like a physiotherapy type lens.
Yes.
Mhm.
And my approach tends to be like, it's very non cookie cutter.
Yes.
What I
Love that.
find is for every injury out there, there's a protocol. Like plantar fasciitis, okay, here you go. And it's all on paper, do these exercises. And they definitely usually help. But then again, it's trying to paint everybody with the same brush. It's
Right.
trying to put everybody in the same box. And I've encountered so many clients and patients where they've done the protocols
Right.
and it didn't work. I had a client in person the other day, and he's had the same knee pain for 15 years. He had an operation on it, but it was for a bone spur. It's fine. But he had a whole bunch of instability. He had been seeing a personal trainer. He had seen chiro, physio. Nothing helps. And he's an avid runner. So he
Right.
can't run more than a kilometer, he said, without pain setting in. So through the assessment, we did some muscle testing. I also just movement screen, just see how you move and what's going on. I also
Right.
watched him walk and stuff. And it was through just me kind of checking everything that I
Right.
saw his adductors were crazy weak. His ability to internally rotate on that side was just non-existent. And
Interesting.
nobody had checked this before. He said he had never done, nobody ever really checked how much range of motion he could do in terms of internal rotation, which is an absolute necessity as a runner. It's how you load your leg and push off. So yeah, there was just weakness there, but nobody had ever checked it. And I think it's again because most people, and I'm being very general because there's a lot of fantastic physios and personal trainers out there, that they just completely overlooked it. They gave him glute bridges, they gave him single leg stance, they gave him this, they gave him that, which again, they would all help, but they were not specific enough to the problem. And then that's where the industry failed them.
Yeah.
So I think, I guess this is all to say that every approach should be slightly different.
Yes.
Like when I'm looking at treating somebody, you're trying to make them stronger. Yes, we have our foundational stuff, the cookie cutter exercises that we can usually give, but can we, improve our approach and tailor it that much further if we just kind of look at everything, look at the entire person. Yeah, make it holistic, make sure we fully take in consideration their full health history, because there could be a lot of clues in there. And what we have is we can potentially we can help these people where they've been failed before. So I think again, that's my thing. There's too much cookie cutter approaches and not enough like holistic ones.
Oh, I was just going to ask, like, if that's like from the person who's coaching or guiding, what about from the flip side of the individual who's perhaps injured and they're sourcing out somebody to support them? What kind of questions should they be asking? We hear pretty often about knee injuries, low back issues, shoulder injuries, frozen shoulder, especially in perimenopause. When they're going in to source somebody out, what kind of questions would you recommend they're asking, or what gaps should they be looking for to know whether this is the right practitioner for them?
I love this question. Love this question, because I think as clients or patients, we are somewhat too trusting. And I'm saying, and let me try to be careful with what I say, in who is treating us. You as the patient or as a client have 100% right to refuse an exercise or to ask questions. Not that you necessarily want to challenge who's treating you, but you have a right to be informed. Like as practitioners, we have to gain informed consent. That was actually one of the major things as a kinesiologist that we were sure to practice, that, okay, this is the exercise we're doing. We are giving this to you because of this. And if it doesn't feel comfortable, or if it does, if you have questions, let me know. Would you like to proceed with this exercise? And it kind of follows along that same formula where I, as a practitioner, I am looping you in to the treatment process because it's your body, number one. Number two, you have natural apprehensiveness to anything that we do because you're scared of being re-injured. You don't know if this is going to work. And, you've probably, this is your third person you've seen and you're doing the same exercise, but don't be afraid to speak up. And there is a natural hierarchy where, whoever is treating you and you're down here, it's kind of a pseudo hierarchy. It's not really there.
It's like a power dynamic.
Exactly. It's just like there's this power dynamic that naturally we as patients would be like, okay, yes, I'll do this. And you just follow blindly. But if there's ever anything that you doubt, or, you just, wait, how is this exercise going to help me? What is it strengthening? And how long am I going to have to do this for? And what's the natural progression? We don't ask enough of that. So I think just my general advice is don't be afraid to ask questions. And if you ever got any pushback from that practitioner, red flag. So if the practitioner is definitely truly there to help you, you can ask a million questions at all and they won't be phased. They just are there to help you and help you understand the value behind the exercises you're being given.
I love that. I honestly think this is, again, one of the many reasons you are so valuable to our team, because a lot of clients, when they come to us, especially if it's like persistent injuries or chronic pain, we're not going to be the team, the four of us, to tell them to back off or like rest. I mean, that might be what they need at some point in the journey, but you're looking at their movement holistically, you're assessing their form. And I think the big piece, Francesca, that you do is you allow people to build capacity and confidence so that way they can do this, because otherwise they do take it as like, oh, I have to stop movement, and they become scared. And that builds, right? So if you're dealing with, pain that's holding you back, or you're worried about, I've got this chronic pain and I don't want to injure myself further, or you just want to make sure you're lifting with proper form, this is why we have Francesca. And, we always have applications open at getsculpted.ca/contact. And when you work with us, you, of course, not just get us, you get fabulous Francesca and access to her virtual form assessments as part of your coaching. So when you talk about looking at the person as a whole, we as a team work holistically together as well. So fill out one of those contact forms because we can help you build that capacity.
I love that. And I think that this is such a great segue because we were talking about injury and that coming up. And this is what I see. And I'd love your guys' thoughts on this, and you as well, obviously, Francesca. I see a lot of women who think it's either like I'm strength training to like build muscle and get toned and look good, or like if I have an injury, I'm just not doing anything. But it's like, hold on. I think there is a big disconnect between like, dude, the training is what prevents the injury and helps you get back from the injury. It's not something you do. Also, if you're getting injured, that's a sign of something deeper. That's like, where's the weakness? Where's the imbalance? It's not just you do this for the aesthetics and then you do nothing to heal. So
I love this.
Yeah, Francesca, I would love if you could speak to that. Like what advice or what would you say to that person that does keep getting the consistent injuries and like they're on and off with their strength training?
Yeah. As a person who had a lot of the same injuries over and over again until I did something different, right? You have to do something different, but it's not always easy to know where you might be going wrong, or is this the right approach, or what should my strategy be? And I think if you have been, you know, have the same injury reoccurring over and over again, and you've done different stuff and it's still happening, it would be a good time to reach out to a movement professional, because there might be an aspect of the approach that you just aren't aware about, or something that's missing that is necessary to you, you know, moving the needle to being pain-free and being able to return to whatever activity it is that you're hoping to resume. I think I can give an example with myself that I've had every injury under the sun, probably back in my varsity and bodybuilding days. I've torn hamstrings, adductors. I've torn my neck muscle here in rugby.
Wow.
Shoulder. Oh yeah, that was a good one. Shoulder. I've had concussions, hip bursitis. So I feel like I've dealt with a lot. And one of the things that kind of, I kept seeing physios and chiros and massage, and all of that helped to
a point,
you know, to a point. And then I would just go back to my normal activity because things felt better, but then the pain would come back and it would just be on and off over years. But then I had to finally say, okay, there's probably something that I need to do differently that I'm not currently doing. And this led me to different certifications. So I've taken like back certification courses and this and that. But there's one out there called Postural Restoration Institute, and they rely, or the concept is looking at breathing and movement patterns, which was like, oh, this is so fascinating because we move in patterns, and it just makes so much sense, right? In terms of like how coordinated the body is when we're just trying to take a step, you know, left foot forward, right arm forward, and what the rib cage and trunk is doing simultaneously. And when we're kind of stuck in a pattern, which is kind of what I was in, then certain muscle groups are going to be hypertonic, like they're on all the time and they're too dominant. And then there's other ones that are asleep at the wheel and they're not pulling their weight. And it just led me to having the same recurring injuries over and over again and the same pain points because they were being overused, because I was overloading these muscles. So it was when I took some of their courses that it just opened my eyes and completely changed my approach in how I assess people and how I view people when they're moving, and for myself. So when I started incorporating some of their treatment programs and exercises, just the way that I moved, the quality was like night and day. It was quite difficult because it really challenges your nervous system in terms of, again, turning the muscles that have been on off and turning the muscles that have been off on. It was super challenging, and it really relied on the quality of my breath work to help me push through some of those difficult exercises. But I don't have the same injuries or pain that I used to have, and I'm able to further increase my resilience with certain movements because of these exercises. So for those who have had the same injury coming back over and over again, there's something that's missing. There's something that you need that you don't know that you need, but is required in order to move the needle towards being pain-free. So it's possible we just need the assistance or an assessment of somebody who has a different perspective, has a different training or education that can help you with this. And oftentimes people think that like, oh, well, this is more money and I've already spent all this money this way. Okay, well, this is definitely an investment that's worth it. And it's not
Yeah.
saying that you have to do, be with that person or, buy a subscription or do whatever to be with that person for indefinitely. We can work out a way in which, we at least assess you. I give you the exercises needed. You work on that for a few months, come back. There is a way in which we can fit this into your lifestyle
Right.
to make it work.
Love that.
Well, yeah, I think that's really the important highlight is like it's a matter of learning how to move, not just being told what to do. And I think this is the big
Right.
disconnect for people. They see parts of their body in isolation. Like,
Yes.
I have bad knees, I have bad hips, but then it's like you don't know what you don't know. And if
Nope.
you're used to your same movement patterns, they're going to repeat themselves unless you actually
course.
see a trained eye sees how you move. So I
Right.
think that this is a really important thing that you mentioned, Francesca, is like it's not just about the what, it's about the how, which is what we highlight for our clients.
Yeah.
So, like with our clients, it's amazing because they get access to with virtual form assessments. You help them with mechanics on the main lifts. You evaluate if they are doing appropriate, warm ups and how we can further customize that for them. And ultimately, that makes their programming even more personalized, which we love. We love getting to that place with them. And it ends up bringing out these like really cool outcomes for a lot of our clients. They see themselves in such different ways. And I'd love for you to just talk about what that experience has been for you to see the clients from that perspective, where you get to like dive deep into how they're doing that one specific movement and influence their programming in that way.
It's truly the reason why I wake up in the morning. I'm
Aw.
not even being
Aw.
so like cliche or corny about it. Like I just love seeing people win. Like it's so great. Like
Love that.
especially because I've been there and I didn't really have the support that I needed
Yes.
when I had to figure kind of everything out, and I could have saved a lot of like headaches and stress in my own journey. But then it's not like you regret it, but then, you cut out so much guessing and
Yes.
stress and struggle when you have the support system, especially like how you guys set up here at Get Sculpted. I think it's been fantastic. There are definitely some clients of yours that have, they send me everything and no regrets. They'll
Yeah.
send me like 10 exercises to review at a time. And I love it because, the service is there. Why not take advantage of
Right.
it?
Yep.
And they've improved so much. I don't want to name names, but like I'm sure some of
You
Tiana's
can.
clients, but like some of all of yours,
Yeah.
Julie,
Yeah, I knew you were thinking of Julie.
Vera,
And I know she's listening.
Yeah.
Like there's some clients definitely out there where they submit every week without fail.
Yeah.
And it just shows that they really care about how much improvement that they've seen and how much more they want to improve even. And it's made a big difference into their confidence
Yeah.
with their lifting, especially in a virtual format,
Yeah.
right? Because it's not like one-on-one where a personal trainer or whomever is right there. So it's definitely, I've seen their confidence improve, their skill has improved, and it just makes the whole experience that much more empowering. Because for those who may have been, a little bit timid or shy to kind of venture down this path, but now they're like hip thrusting 300 pounds, no problem, doing squats when they had back pain before. Like, it's just been a pleasure to witness all of this firsthand and to also to be a part of it. Like, I'm helping this, so it's been awesome
Love it.
to say the least.
Oh, well, we love you. We
We
love
love
you.
you. And your passion comes through. Like, as I'm listening to this, I'm just thinking
Yeah.
like, people can
Sorry,
see
I'm
that
so
you're
not Gen Z. I was trying to do
What is
it.
the
Just
other one?
there we
I don't
go. Yeah, no, I'm millennial,
Do they
so
do
I
it
go like
different?
this, and I was trying to do
Yes.
I don't know.
Well, they
I
do
don't
that.
know.
They do that other thing now with I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well,
Ava
we're
did
millennials,
something
so-
else. I don't know. But yeah. Anyway.
I love this. This is so valuable. I think we could talk forever and ever, and we would,
Yeah.
on that note, love to have you back, Francesca, and go even
Yes.
deeper on topics. But again, if you guys are like, this is so valuable and I want a taste of what it's like to actually improve my movement pattern, not just be told what to do, this is what we help our clients with. And you get access to the whole team, including Francesca. So fill out that contact form if you're interested. We'll have a chat, and we'll leave that in the show notes. But with that, I want to leave us with a few final notes. Francesca has taught us that your pain is not random, your weakness is not permanent, movement is medicine, and before you assume that you're just broken, ask yourself, have you really built the right capacity to be able to move at your full potential? All right, thank you again, Francesca. And
Yes, thank
any
you.
final thoughts or takeaways to leave people with?
Oh my goodness. I think if you're listening to this and you're maybe contemplating getting started, I don't want to just say like, what are you waiting for? But I think all of us are a testament to what movement can do for you. And if
Yeah.
you're coming from a place where you've had injury or, there's some other personal struggles that you have, you can definitely, again, cater your approach to whatever it is that you're ready for. Your readiness definitely matters to
Mm-hmm.
what program you're going to embark on. But absolutely, yeah, it's definitely doable. And we're all proof of that.
Yeah.
So,
And we got
Love
you.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you so much, Francesca. Looking forward
Thank you,
to the next
Francesca.
time you're on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
See you
for having
later.
me, guys. This is awesome.
Awesome.
Bye,
Bye.
ladies. Bye, everyone.
Thanks.